Will be the longest episode ever.
No, so you'll shorten. You don't have to make it all of it.
No, it's everything.
Okay.
But yeah, you
I'll
actually,
talk a lot.
you're a good storyteller.
I talk a lot.
You talk a lot.
I'm embarrassed.
No, those are two different
Then I
things.
told Kalma, this one might be short. What's up, hikers and mountaineers? Welcome back to another episode of the Baada Summit podcast. I'm your host, Kiprono Letting. And today, our guest is Margie Gathungu.
Hey.
It's Margie, not Maggie.
Yeah, Margie.
Margie. Margie is a hiker, mountaineer, rock
Crossfitter.
climber,
Yeah.
crossfitter.
Yes.
And someone said, like, to me on Instagram, you've recently become a potter.
Yeah, I'm trying. The economy is hard, eh? You need to diversify your resources. Yeah.
Because you did a self-supported hike Mount Kenya.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So, karibu to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, I just want to check out, like, your Instagram bio. Vile umeandika.
Okay.
Mountaineer, rock climber, nimesema crossfitter.
Yes.
So, you like CrossFit?
Yes, I love CrossFit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hiking trendsetter, COVID days.
Do you have to say it?
Umeandika. And now you're semi-retired.
Yeah.
Okay. African trotter, 14 out of 54 countries. Globe trotter, 17 out of 193. So I guess you want to go to all 193.
Mostly African. I'll focus more on Africa than I would the world. Yeah.
Okay. Adrenaline junkie and author.
Yeah. Don't
Uliandika
ask me what
nini?
I've written yet,
Yeah.
but I'm writing a book.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's it about?
Mountains in Africa.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's the title?
No. The title is... Am I meant to say the title?
I mean, you can.
Okay, but I can say the theme. I do have the title. Yeah. But the theme is really about hiking in Africa. Because I felt... From the word go, I think I've always... Before hiking, before everything, I used to travel a lot. And my focus was in Africa. Like, I really wanted to travel to all African countries. Now I know I won't be able to do all of them. Some countries have security issues. It's also very costly. Yeah, you can only do so much. But then there's these mountains that I've been climbing in Africa. And the more you move away from the traditional Mount Kilimanjaro, try get to look at any other material that I've had to research for, like maybe climbing Karisimbi or climbing Tukbal. Most of the people who live and say, oh, I've been there, and mostly not Africans. They'll be my white friends. And I'm like, this is our continent. This is where we live. So we really need to tell our stories about these mountains as Africans and put more of ourselves on
nice.
our own peaks. So it's really just going to be a journey about my African mountains. I narrowed it down to 12. 12 of the highest mountain ranges in Africa. Yeah, so I still have to climb
How many
4
have you
more
done?
ranges. I have 4 more ranges to go, but 8 are done. So once I climb those other 4, I will have a complete book. But I'm writing. I've already started writing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So there are 12. We've done 8. So
Yes.
let me try guess the 8. Kilimanjaro, Kenya,
Yes.
Rwenzori, Tubkal.
Yeah, so that will be the Atlas range. Yeah.
Okay, those are 4. What else?
Virunga.
Virunga.
Yeah, so the highest. I was trying to go for the highest peak in each of the ranges because now there's so many peaks. Like Mount Kenya has 3.
Yeah.
But you cannot say, if you've gone to Lenana, you cannot say you've not gone to Mount Kenya just because you have not gone to Batian, right?
Yeah, the
Like,
highest point.
it does not mean the same, but
Yeah.
at least you've set foot in a range.
Yeah.
So for Virunga, I've done Karisimbi and Bisoke. There are 2 of them. They're in Rwanda. Then Simen, I did Boahit. We couldn't go to the highest peak, Ras Dashan, because of security issues. So that was just out of the picture. It's not safe.
For now.
It's not safe for now. You can't go. Nothing much you could do about it. Elgon.
Oh, Elgon.
Yeah, Elgon in Kenya and Uganda. Meru in
TZ.
TZ. Yeah, that should be it.
And Essay?
Essay,
Drakensberg?
no, I've not done the Drakensberg, but they're not as high. They wouldn't form part of the 12. Luckily for me, most of the 12 are in East Africa, other than the Atlas, which is in the north.
Africa.
Yeah, but the rest are Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and Ethiopia, which are just here. It pays to be a Kenyan, they're just here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Can't wait to read that book.
Yeah.
So, like, how'd you get into hiking?
Oh,
Like
gosh.
your first hike?
My first hike was really a silly argument. That's why I say I'm an accidental hiker. I had a friend who was part of the KRA management trainee, where they do hiking as part of the course. So they go to Mount Kenya, self-supported if I'm not wrong. So just idle chatter, and he was like, Mount Kenya is harder than Mount Kilimanjaro in terms of climbing. And I looked at it in a textbook point. Mount Kilimanjaro is higher. It has to be harder.
Yeah.
It's higher. It's harder.
Yeah.
That's it. So I was like, the only way we can prove is then if we go to Mount Kilimanjaro. And we're like, okay, we go to Mount Kilimanjaro.
Just like that?
Just like that. So I didn't know anything about hiking, but I used to run a lot.
Okay.
That was my fitness regime.
What year was this?
2014.
2014. Okay.
Yeah, that was actually early, like maybe around March. That's when we decided. Then we decided December. We didn't even check dates. Like, people who just set a date
Yeah.
randomly. Like, we didn't look seasons. Is it a good time? Nah.
Unaenda tu
As we're
when
like,
you're free.
December, it's a good time to take leave. So we go to Mount Kilimanjaro. We come for Christmas. Good times. So, yeah, we talked. And then, unfortunately, with a friend, it was a guy, we didn't make it to December. So we broke up. But then I was like, I'm still going to Mount Kilimanjaro. So I went on Facebook. I think I remember I put a post. Does anyone know a guide in Kenya who can take me to Mount Kilimanjaro? And then someone recommended Chris Tembo of Outdoor Circuits.
Yeah.
So I told him, I want to go to Mount Kilimanjaro. And he was like, I have a group that's going in December. If you don't mind, you can join in. And I was like, that's fine. So I don't know whether he was preoccupied because the group was a huge team from Scotland. I think he was very preoccupied with making sure they had a good stay because they're also doing other things in TZ. He never really bothered much with my
About you.
preparation.
Oh, you didn't ask what's your experience?
Yeah,
Nini?
so the most we did was go to Oldonyo Rock,
Okay.
which I don't think we can call as a pre-hike.
Not really.
Yes, we went to Oldonyo Rock. It was a good day. We came back and we went to Mount Kilimanjaro. So I packed wrongly. I knew nothing. I had sweaters. Sweaters.
Sweater.
Yes.
Summit night.
Yeah, sweaters. I was like, it's cold, eh? There's no way I'm not going to summit because of cold, and I have a suitcase full of sweaters. So I carried sweaters, but I had a poncho.
Okay.
I had a poncho, and I had hiking boots. I had mittens. It's just the efficiency in hiking that I didn't have. So I didn't have thermals. Yeah, such kind of things I
Yeah,
didn't
that you
have.
know now.
Yeah. So, I had a polyester t-shirt that could absorb sweat, but it was not a thermal. And I had all my socks. So I was very inefficient in terms of my luggage and everything. But yes, that's how I went for
And you
my
still
first
managed to summit with your sweaters.
yes. So I know at some point Chris gave me some of his things.
Okay.
Like I think his jacket,
Uh.
his hard shell jacket he gave me. And I don't even think up to today I have a good hard shell jacket, to be honest. I will not be 100% confident about my jackets. But so we had the hike. It was raining from the first day. So that kind of helped because I was in a poncho the whole time. The poncho retains a lot
The
of
heat.
heat. So you wouldn't feel the cold as much. And then at night, you put on all your sweaters. There are many. Yeah. And then I think also for comfort, one of the guys, there was also another Kenyan who joined, who was very, I don't know, very carefree and free spirit. He had come with one sweater, and just by his bad chance, his bag got rained on the first day.
Oh. So, it's all
So
wet.
his porter, they were wet. His sleeping bag was wet. His one sweater was wet. And he was a doctor. So he's like, nah, I can take care of myself. No, I'm a doctor. So I think I was looking at him and I'm like, that guy is sleeping in a wet sleeping bag. So mine is dry. So I was like, I have comfort. It's not that bad. But it was not easy. But the good thing is that I was very green. So I listened to instructions. So when you are told pole pole, you know, they tell you in Kilimanjaro, pole pole. And then the people had chosen a very good route, which I always say was a very big success factor.
Which route is that?
Machame.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go up, you sleep low. You go up, you sleep slow. So your body sort of takes in the shock, unlike the Marangu route. So every time will be like at 38 and you're told, don't worry, we are sleeping at 3,000. You go to 42, you're told, you're sleeping at 37 today. So that really helped a lot. And drinking my water. So I really they were like, drink your water and walk pole pole. That is what I did. Because on day one of the hike, you've done Machame route.
Not yet.
Day one is like a walk in Karura. You will not feel like you're in a mountain. It starts at 18 and I think it ends at 24 or 3,000 meters. But it's such a gradual walk. And even the terrain is just literally like how you'll walk in Karura. You will not realize you're gaining altitude. And two guys that we were with in the group, they walked very fast. You know, it was easy. It was an easy walk, so it was easy to pile up the distance quickly. And they had headaches from day one. So there was that issue. You have two who are sick, one who is wet, then me who is green, then the Scottish people. So that sort of, when they got sick, I really understood the thing of drink your water and go pole pole. Yeah, so I did that and it wasn't bad until the last night. So the last night at Barranco Camp.
Summit night.
Yeah, summit night. Barafu. So we arrived and we were doing it the normal way, like 8 days. Yeah. You spend good 8 days on the mountain. So at Barafu, when we arrived, we were told we eat dinner, go change into summit clothes, then sleep for 3 hours. Midnight we are up, we start the journey to the summit. So we go to the tent. My tent mate, she was fine. Like the whole time she's been fine. No one at this point, other than the two guys who had been sick and some other guy who also got ALS for running stomach, no one else had issues. Everyone else was tip-top. Then all of a sudden, my tent mate is breathing like a frog. I'm like,
while sleeping?
No, we were just changing. We were actually in that process of changing. You know, now it's a whole process. All these clothes, layer 1, layer 2.
Yeah.
Like in all that changing, her breathing just moved from normal to like a frog. I'm like, what the hell? So I go and tell my guide and he's like, that's pulmonary edema. Because she was filling with water in her lungs, like she was drowning in herself.
Yeah.
So they came quickly, picked her, and 2 porters went with her down. And I was told, pack her things, they will follow later. So she went down immediately, and then I packed her bags, and another porter went with them. So that kind of shook me.
So at that time, what are you thinking?
No, you're like, okay, so this sickness that we've been talking about is actually real. You know, at first, the ones with the headaches were like, they were just kazanaing, like, yeah, they have the headaches, they're moving slowly, but they're still moving. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. And then the other guy who had running stomach was those alpha type of people. So he'll walk very fast to make sure that you don't get to witness his... Yeah. So him will always get ahead as much as he was very sick. But he had taken Diamox before he left because I think Scotland, they're like at 0. So all of them had come already with medication. So it helped. They had already taken medication. So that was the time I was like, this yeah, mountain sickness is actually a big deal and very serious because it was hard to explain. Like 2 seconds,
You're
she's
fine.
fine. The next is like you have a frog in the tent. Like, it was so shocking. Yeah, so midnight we wake up, we take our tea and biscuits, and we are off. And I remember I was so happy, this is it. I'm going to the summit. And then from that route, yeah, I think if you've been that night, you can see the lights in Moshi.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the lights there. You're like, I'm doing this. Yeah? Adrenaline is up there. Then fatigue starts checking in. You're like, okay, this summit is not that important. I am tired. I want to go back. I tell my guide that I want to go back. Then dude is like, he knows I'm not sick. Like, I'm not sick. I'm just cold. And he's like, I think he lied to me. He told me, he told me, where we've reached, you can't go down. The only other route is from the summit down. So you have to get to the summit so that you go down.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. At that point, I was very hungry, like, because it was very cold. I think my body just used up all my reserves to keep warm. And still, my fingers were frozen. My water in my water bottle was ice. So those ones, if you want it, you crush it first. Then you just suck on the ice. It was just a harsh night. And I remember I had a chocolate inside my jacket, inside pocket of the jacket. And I'm trying to open my zip.
It's frozen.
I can't move.
Oh.
Then I remember that guy, he had joked at some point, like, these things, even when you are there walking, we help you go to the toilet. And I was like, it's so true. I can't open my own zip. So I told him I have a chocolate. So he helped me. And then when he told me there's no other way down, I just bent down and cried. Like, I broke down and cried. I was like, okay, now I'm stuck. I'm here. I don't know these people. I don't know where I am. And now I just want to go, and he's refused. So I think I just had those moments you cry, like, those tears that come from your stomach, like everything in me I was like so helpless. I don't think I've ever felt more helpless than I did at that time. And I was like, okay, so we have to go to the summit. So I was like, that's his idea. But I was like, the moment the sun comes up and I can see myself, I am not moving. No, I am not
from
moving.
Where you
I was like, no, it's just that I cannot go anywhere, so I cannot stop.
Yeah.
But if I see myself,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
So this one I can just say it's God's ways, because it was so weird. It was dark and sunrise came like instant. And there was this huge rock on the path, a big boulder. And the moment the sun came out and then we turned that boulder, there was snow. So I saw snow. I was like, the summit. No, this is summit. I mean, where else can you find snow if it's not at the summit? So now you have renewed energy. Remember, I was stopping when the sun comes up.
Yeah.
But now that I saw snow, I was like, this is not so bad.
Yeah.
My friend, we have not even reached Stella. We are still so far. So we walk. Adrenaline goes down again. I was like, the summit is not coming. So eventually we walked and reached Stella. Then I was like, you see there, that's the summit. That's now Uhuru Peak. And I was like, like if you see my summit photos, I was annoyed. I reached there annoyed. I walked, so you walk. You know that can walk, eh?
Yeah.
But it was a nice walk.
It's like a zombie walk.
Yeah, because the season was the right season. So it was all glacier. So we were walking on white. Everything was just white around us. Everywhere you look was white. So it was beautiful, but you just walk. You're like, okay, fine, summit.
Yeah, summit, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, how awesome, you say.
Photo.
Yeah, and it was clear. Like, it was such a beautiful morning, to be honest. So we went, got to the summit, took the photos, I think at that point, one of the porters had my bags. Then we did the long walk to Mweka that just never ends.
Yeah.
The scree that, at that, it was just bad. So I remember when we came down in 2 days. Like the first night we slept somewhere, I cannot remember that
Millennium.
camp. Maybe
Mweka camp.
Mweka. Yeah. Then the next day we went to the gate. When you got to the gate, I gave out everything. Everything.
All your gear.
Yes.
You're like, I've retired.
Take this
I'm done.
poncho. Take this walking stick. Like, I think shoes,
I
someone
retire
stopped
from
me
hiking.
because someone stopped me from giving out my shoes, but I was done. I was like, I am never doing this again. So I stopped.
Oh, it didn't last.
Yeah, but I was so annoyed. Like,
Yeah.
even 2 days later, I was still annoyed. Yeah.
I had like the similar experience. Like the first time I climbed Kili, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. I always I think that day, even anything you wanted, I could give you. Like, I didn't want anything to remind me of that mountain. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
quite a fast experience. So
Yeah.
now, after that, when did you like finally go to Mount Kenya now? Since Kili was your first?
That was December 2014. 2015, did do anything. And 2016, I sort of had a near-death experience. And I thought, oh, wow, I'm going to die.
What happened?
It's a long story, but I
Okay.
actually thought I was going to die, like, in a very short time. So I went all out, like, to live. I was like, I'm going to live. Like, before I die, I'm going to live. So I was like, oh yeah, there was this mountain that I climbed. So I was like, let's do the next 2 that make up the East African highest mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rwenzori, that was like, that year I did a lot. I went skydiving, I went bungee jumping, I went to Rwenzori, I went to Mount Kenya. So immediately I threw myself a birthday party. Like, it was, I lived.
Yeah.
It's 1 year, I lived everything. So immediately after my birthday, I was on a bus to Uganda alone. So at that time, 2016, that's 2016 Feb, not many people were doing Mount Rwenzori in Kenya. So I remember even when I was talking to Chris, he hadn't done it at that time.
Chris Tembo.
Yeah. I think the only other person who knew was David Trekking. I don't know if you've ever met him.
Yeah,
I've
I've heard of
actually
him.
never met him, but we've spoken so many times. Yeah, so I knew of David Trekking, but then when I looked at his pictures, he had a lot of white clients. And I was like, I don't think I can meet that costs. Like when I do that cost analysis, I didn't even ask whether he's possibly not even expensive, but I just assumed he will be expensive. So I was like, let's just take ourselves to Uganda. So I got to Uganda. At that point, I did have a friend in Uganda. I had gone for a summer school in TZ where they also had Ugandans. So we used to keep in touch. So I was like, I'm in your city. I need to organize myself to go to the mountain. So I go to the office. It was rather funny. I don't know if you've ever been to Kencom. Have you been to Kencom? Inside.
Kencom, in Tao.
Yes, inside, not outside,
Oh.
not chilling up on stage.
No, I don't think so.
You should go there.
In the bank.
No, above the bank. There are these
No,
old
they haven't.
offices. Like, that building is very old. I think it must be like one of the pioneer buildings in Nairobi. Like, those offices are old school. That was the kind of office I found myself in Uganda. They had no computer. They had a map of the Rwenzori that was faded. It was very faded. And there were 2 of them, I remember very well. And one was reading a paper. Then the other one was eating peanuts. Then I'm like, this is the office. And I'm like, I look at these people. And I'm like, this is where I'm living $1,000. Have you ever what? Even though I said I'm
Shady.
living, 100K is quite a bit of money to just live randomly. So they tell me, so you'll go bank this money. And then once you bank it, come tomorrow we go. Like, just like that. Okay, so they tell me the name of the bank. I think it's called Caribas or something. It's a Catholic bank. I didn't know it. I didn't know it. So I asked my friend, and then he's like, yeah, that's actually a big bank. It's a big bank in Uganda. I was like, it's hard for a thief to be banking with a big bank. I'm like, this is the point you transfer your risk to the bank.
To the bank,
You're
if
like,
anything happens.
yeah, they must do their due diligence. So I go, I pay their 1,000, and then they tell me, yeah, come tomorrow and we'll go. So it was that easy. We went the next day. They had a nice saloon car. That was surprising. Like, I was chauffeured from Kampala to Kasese. Yeah, it was a nice drive. And then we go. They had the lodge over there that you sleep at the base. I think you were
I
there.
slept at a hotel.
You slept at a there was a hotel at the base.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was there. It was very nice. Everything. I think the only thing now I didn't do right. At this time I'm really not a hiker. I have still not done any pre-hike. I don't know about talking about meals and such things. And since you know Tanzanians, our food are like the same, yeah?
Yeah.
So I hadn't thought about having a meal discussion with these guys. So we show up at the hotel, it's fine because it's meat. And yeah, meat is meat. But now, the next day now we start the hike. But I had done I needed gumboots, that much I knew. And yeah, that was pretty much it. The rest was still the same. No thermals. No
Just sweaters.
Sweaters, yes. Rain jacket, yes.
Poncho.
Yeah, and all that. So we go, and turns out I'm not a big fan of Ugandan food. Yeah, like
Matoke ama
no,
the flavoring.
they had chicken sausages that I just didn't like. And I'm a good feeder on mountains. Like, I'm a very good feeder when I'm hiking. Okay, even when I'm not hiking, but then we shall stick. I'm a good feeder when I'm hiking. And then everything on the menu was not good. So I think at some point I told them, because the porters were drinking porridge for breakfast, I was like, can we swap? Can they have my breakfast? And I take their
Porridge.
maize porridge. And they're like, why will you want to do that? You're leaving your sausages for porridge. I'm like, that's like the only thing that tastes familiar. And yeah, I can have that. So it was one of those hikes that we did. And I was the only client. No, they brought in another Ugandan. And then at the same time, there was another team, a Japanese pair. They're not really a couple, a pair. But in a different group. So we were 2 groups on the mountain doing the same hikes. So we had a lot of time, like it was just chill. You know, the Rwenzori is...
Pole pole.
They were not actually pole pole, those ones. They were taking me quite quickly. So I remember from TZ where we were told to walk slowly. Them, they were of the opinion we walk quickly and go rest at the next stop. And I'm like, I know hiking is pole pole. So I think it was one of those ones where I had to keep reminding the guide that I don't want to walk as fast, because I still knew, at this point, I know altitude sickness is real.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to make any jokes. So the only thing, it was such a good hike. The only thing I suffered on that hike was the food. Yeah, I did lose 7 kgs on that hike. Because
Not eating.
I'm not eating. And it's not that I don't want to eat. I just don't like the taste of food. Even now, whenever I go to Uganda, I really don't like their food. I end up eating now not local foods. Yeah. Yeah. So when you got to summit night, so now at that
Did
point,
you know of the technical climbing place?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had spoken to Chris. He had given me some crampons. I went with them. They didn't like the crampons. The guides did not like them. They gave me their own. And they're like, it's fine. This one is on the house. I'm like, thank God, because I've already done paying. I don't pay anymore. So they gave me their crampons and the ice axe. So at this time, I don't go to the gym, so I have no strength whatsoever. Then the Ugandan I had been paired with, when we were at base camp, one of those, like during those many base camps that we were, he spoke to the Japanese people, and the Japanese guys were like, since they knew I had gone to Mount Kilimanjaro, they told him, this glacier is very difficult. You need experience to do it. So he chickened out. So me, I'm like, I don't know why they assumed I will be knowing, but they thought I will be knowing. I was like, nah, I will not tell anyone. I've never ever put on crampons in my life. That will be my own secret. So the guy, he decided he's not going. But then he had these foot warmers. You've used them before?
For sleeping?
No, the ones
Oh,
that
the
you
ones
put
that
for
heat
instant
up.
heat up. Yeah.
Not yet, yeah.
They are awesome.
Okay.
So he's like, since I'm not going to the summit, you can have them. Those things.
So you like put them, like you wear your socks
You
then?
put on your sock. You don't need to put in a thick sock now.
Okay.
Then, it's like now the next layer between your sock and your shoe.
The boot, okay.
It's warm. Like, I've never had such a warm summit walk like that one. This was generating heat.
Yeah.
I think I actually had left with all my layers of socks, and then I had to remove them because now I was burning up. I was too hot. So we go at that point of the glacier, and I put on the crampons and we start. Does this girl have any physical strength? No. You're given the ice axe. You hit the ice. It's not getting in. It's bouncing. Like, and it was one guide is ahead, one is behind. So you're meant to hit the ice, put your weight on it, climb a bit, move on like that.
Yeah.
But mine is not sticking.
Yeah.
Wow, it was difficult. Like, there was a point, Kwanzaa, there was a crevasse, and I'm seeing there, if my ice axe goes there, we are never getting it again. and this guy is going to, now I'm looking, I'm like, this is going to slide down, because it's like this, yeah? So I'm like, if I fall off, I pull him down, we all go down, disaster for everyone. I don't know, at some point, I think the guy behind me is the one who came, because I was stuck, totally stuck. He came, he held my butt like this. So I sat, and then now because I needed to cross. After crossing, it was less vertical. It was a bit more stable. You could even walk, actually. You could hold the ice axe and walk, like using it as a stick. So we went to the summit. It was not a very beautiful summit. It was very...
Margarita.
It was very... What can I say? It was those dull days on the mountain, and then it was very cold. So summit, quick photo, come down. Coming down, my Ugandan had been so bored because of being left behind. He's like, instead of spending 2 nights on the mountain for coming down, we go all the way out. I suffered.
For the next day all the way out?
Yes.
Wow.
I suffered. Those ones at some point, you're just falling, because of fatigue. You've lost motor skills. You've lost motor skills. Your legs are not legs anymore. That's the first time in my life I've been held on a hike. I was just held because I can't really move. And that's how now hike number 2 came.
First 2 hikes, Kili, and then Rwenzori.
But then now the bad part is, because of doing it early, that time people just used to do Margarita. You guys now are doing many peaks. Now I have to go back and do those other peaks.
And the other Baker, Wiseman.
Because that was not a thing then. It was not a thing. It took like 2 more years later for me to start seeing people, Kenyans, going to Rwenzori. It was not a common hike.
So you did TZ, Uganda, then Mount Kenya came when? Finally.
So that was Feb, is when I did Rwenzori. Then September, my friends from Scotland were coming now to Kenya because we kept in touch. And now they were happy to come to my home.
The same people for Kili? Okay.
So they came to Mount Kenya. So they were doing the whole Kenya safari. You do Masai Mara, you do a mountain, you do a beach. Like that. So they came in August or September, somewhere there. That's when now we did Mount Kenya. Again, no pre-hike. Like, I really didn't know. Like, honestly, I didn't know these things. And them, they had their own WhatsApp group in Scotland. They will do their pre-hikes together over there. I just didn't know, honestly. But I was physically active. The
Yeah.
running was what I was doing.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
running, like how many kilometers would you say you prepped?
I never even used to track like that because I wouldn't consider myself a runner. You know,
Oh, okay.
the people nowadays are serious. Me, my running was going to Nairobi Uni, and that field over there.
Yeah.
You run 5 laps. Then next week you do 6 laps.
Yeah.
The other week you make it 7.
Yeah.
Like me, mine was just laps. Like
Yeah.
how many laps? I just go increasing a lap like that. Like it was never time or those theatrics, proper things. Anna, me, I've never been those people. Me, I was like, I just ran 5, then 6, 7. I think by the time I had to stop at some point, I got sick. I had to slow down. But by the time I was stopping, I think I was doing 13 laps. Yeah, before, like I got anemic, so I couldn't do physical activities for a while before my blood came back. So
Your story is so interesting. Like the first 3 hikes, Kili, Rwenzori, Kenya, no prep hikes.
no, but I was
Wow.
running.
Oh, but you're running.
I
of
was
course,
running, yeah. It's
And
a
then-
very important thing because the motion of walking
Yeah.
is already there. So when you're hiking, at least I won't be dealing with fatigue from walking. My body is already used to that.
Yeah.
Then your lung capacity is being pushed because you run every day. Because I was
Yeah.
literally running 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, if you run 5 days a week, you will get better at it.
Yeah.
You will get faster. Yeah. So my lungs, I can say, were ready for the aerobic element. And listening to the instructions, drinking the 3 liters and walking slowly.
Pole.
Yeah.
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 So what's hiking for you now? Like the first time you got this opportunity, the second time you're like you wanted to just do because of this
'Cause I was
life-changing
dying.
moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I
And
think
now,
I didn't really consider myself a hiker, but then somehow it became a thing. Like if I go somewhere, I'm going to hike. So I think with my friend, like one of those friends that we hiked with in Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya, she became my friend. We are still friends up to today. So we decided we are going to go to Egypt. So what do you climb in Egypt? Mount
Sinai.
Sinai. They call it Sinai.
oh, Sina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So so just like that. So it was not so much I'm a hiker, but then it became if I go somewhere and there's a mountain, I'm going to hike it. Then you plan a trip when you're on a trip. So when we're in Egypt, we're like, so now that we're here, where's the next phase? Like, Morocco is just next door and it's nice. So I was like,
And there's a mountain.
yeah, Morocco. No, actually at that time I was like, oh yeah, Morocco is nice. You look at the pictures like, oh, it's a pretty country. You're like, okay, so let's go to Morocco. So I think that happened next 2017. I did Sina 2018. Yes, 2018. I went to Morocco and then now I climbed. So like I actually chose the Tukbal side, which is on the other end of the mountain. But now most people do it from the desert side, which it will take you forever to get to the peak because it's a range.
Okay.
It's quite big. So at some point, it's either you do 2 different trips. You do the desert side, which now will take you to the non-summit side of the Atlas Mountains, or you go to this other side of the country, which has now the peak, because it's actually a short hike. It's a 2-day hike.
Oh, only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it has only 1 base camp. So if you choose to extend, you either sleep 2 days at the base camp. Yeah. Okay, you just have to choose to extend. It's a 2-day hike. Yeah. Yeah.
And you've done Batian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's COVID. Let's blame COVID for that.
Batian. Elusive peak.
The elusive peak. It was never even something I considered. Like when you go to Mount Kenya, you always stand on that side where Batian is behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
You take a photo
Yeah.
and you're happy. Like the end. The end. That's your toll. It's
That's for,
technical.
like, other people.
It's technical. And you just end. It's technical. Yeah, it's technical.
So how was like your journey to Batian?
That
Because
was
I'm really, it's something I haven't done. So
you should do.
yeah.
You should do.
Peter was here yesterday.
Yes.
And you did Batian with him, Cindy.
Yes.
Okay.
So that journey was a funny journey. Where can I say it started? I knew Peter. No, I didn't know Peter. Someone sent me during, like I think a few months before COVID, Feb, Climbing Life Kenya were hosting Peter for his when he did Cold Feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cold Feet. Was it Cold Feet?
Yeah, Colby, the one who's climbing barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Point
went,
John.
yeah, so it was a talk somewhere in Kilimanjaro, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, so he gave the talk about how he climbs Batian and all that. And actually my friend, and even your friend Doreen, had met him when he was like a baby. And they went to Mount Kenya and they told me, oh, we met this kid who goes to Batian. But then he's like, he's pointy. So I was like, this is mzungu, achana na huyo. And yeah, and then now when that talk happened, I just went out of curiosity, nothing, no intention whatsoever.
Expectations,
No, not even, no intention. I was just going to hear. And it was a Friday evening after work.
Yeah.
Chill, just a chill thing to do. Yeah, and I was like, oh, pretty cool. Then I think what happened next at the gym at where I go Alpha Fit, they had that screening of free solo for Alex Honnold, and I was like, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to go risk your life on a rock? Yeah, it was just, why would you want to do that? Then so because COVID made us hikers, I think even you
Yeah.
can attest, you got your best
Yeah.
level of hiking
Yeah.
during COVID.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to me. That as I used to hike, but I never really, like the way we said, at that point I'd done five mountains. But I was not really a hiker. I was not in any hiking circle. Then what happened? Yeah, I went to, like, it was the only thing we could do during COVID, hiking.
Especially after that lockdown and
yeah.
everything. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yes. So in that sense, and since I'd done those other peaks, so people will look at me like I'm a pro. But me, I know I'm not a pro. I know I don't even know. I can't explain myself. So now, just chatting with a friend, and I was like, I think I've done everything with these mountains. And he's like, but see, Mount Kenya
Next
goes to
challenge.
51.99 and you went to 49. I'm like, yeah, but that's technical. So it's like, what about you do it? And I was like, what about if I did it? So it was just one of those, okay, maybe I can do it. Then I think around at the same time, Rosemary had done an attempt, Kamweti.
Yeah.
And it was not successful, but she had done an attempt. So I was like, this is actually like something that can happen. So that's when now the training started in last year.
2021.
Jan. Yeah, 2021. Yeah, so Jan, I was like, we're doing this. So at that point now, I've become so pro. I've done my one-day challenge for Mount Kenya. I had also done one-day challenge for Kili. So I was like, so now I'm a hiker. Now I'm confident. Now even people know me as a hiker. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So last year, I was like, let's train for Batian. So I know the seasons and I know everything. So I was like, I will attempt the North Face, which happens in July. So so that's how it started. So I went to Blue Sky. I sought out Sam Wangi. I asked him to do internal, like it's sort of like I created a program for myself. It's like I'm going to go climb indoors, then I'm going to climb outdoors, then we're going to the summit. So it was a rough program like that, but it worked out very well. So,
Like, how was the program? Like, you climb like once a week?
yeah, so for the indoors, I did like maybe 2-3 times because, I'd never really climbed, so I didn't know anything. So I just wanted to, how can I carry
Be
myself
comfortable.
and all that. So I went in Feb. Then now March is the first time we went outdoors. So I think at that time also the Solomon people were doing the Batian project, and we did a tryout, but I wasn't selected. But then I still continued. So at that point I had done my own training, like one session at Hell's Gate. I had gone and paid Simon, the guy, he's called Simon, the one who mans the Fisher's Tower. Fisher's Tower. So we spent a day together climbing there, and I was like, yeah, it was pretty nice. So that's when I was like, okay, this is going to happen. Even though I've not been selected, I'll still do this thing. So I was like, let me get a guide who can train me and at the same time take me up. So for me, I wanted consistency. I didn't want meeting
Same
someone
person.
new on climb day. I wanted to have someone familiar, someone I know their voice, I know their cues, like that. For me, it was important. So there are very few technical guides.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, like you have Akina Duncan and the other Simon and are in Nyeri. James for Hell's Gate is in Naivasha. So if you're doing a training, it's hard to work with them because you'll have to pay for them to come to Nairobi. It's impossible. You can't sustain that. So that's when I was like, oh yeah, there's Peter. But I thought he was not in Kenya. I actually thought he was also in Nakuru. I assumed he lives in Nakuru. So I was like, now I'm stuck. I am not about to start paying for someone transport to Nairobi every other weekend. Then chatting him is like, oh yeah, I actually am in Nairobi. I live in Nairobi. I was like, oh, makes
That
my life
works.
so much easier. Yeah, so that's when we started prepping. So the program was really, in my opinion, we did it very well. It was like we perfect the climbing, then I get my altitude training.
What's the program actually?
So you'll do the coursework, but you do it on the ground, not in class.
Okay.
So how to tie your knots, how to tie yourself in, how to
Right.
belay. Belay is like when the guide is going up, you're holding him for safety. And once he gets up, managing the ropes that he pulls the rope, like all of it, then you start climbing and all that. So just the dynamics of climbing as a team.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
This in Hell's Gate, Lukenya.
we did Hell's Gate like once or twice, but I personally prefer Lukenya.
Okay.
Mostly, first the access. It's an hour away from Nairobi, and it's harder. The kind of climbing in Lukenya is really hard. The grip, the surface is a bit tougher than you will have at Hell's Gate. So I was like, you better train the harder way than climbing easier. Because
okay.
the standard routes on Mount Kenya are actually not difficult. They are graded 5-6, which is beginner.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beginner climbing.
Okay.
It's not difficult. What makes it difficult is that you're high altitude and it's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold. Even on a sunny day, it's still cold. You know how the mountain sun is, yeah? It's not that
It's
hot.
deceiving.
Yeah, it's deceiving. So that's what makes it difficult. And the risk that now if you fall at such a place, it's really almost certain death. But in terms of the type of climbing, it's not difficult. Yeah. It's not difficult to climb. So we did that program. I think we did like 6 or 7 sessions. And he was like, I think you're good to go. So that was it. At that point, it was a solo journey. I had tried to get in a few people to join me. So at least you save on the travel cost and all that. But I think people don't like... It's also you have to be very committed.
For Batian.
For Batian. For me, I
Yeah.
say, if you're planning to go to Batian, please don't waste your time going for a session in January, then going for the next one in March. Don't
Okay.
waste yourself. If you want to go July season, I'll say start in March. Do your classes March, April, May, or April, May, June. Then July, you're ready.
Uende.
But this spreading out, you're learning a new skill. For majority of us, you're learning a new skill as an adult. It's harder. So when you spread it out, that means every time you go for training, you're starting from zero. You don't have much muscle memory that it will come. And these are small, small details. Like you put that rope in the wrong loop, you're dead. Not that you're falling, you're dead. Yeah, you need to have that very natural approach, because once you get to those climbs, especially the North Face, you will probably not see your guide for a very long time once you start climbing. Yes.
So you're just shouting at each other?
Not shouting, you feel the rope.
Okay.
You communicate by rope.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll shout. There are times you can hear each other. Sometimes if there's wind, you won't hear him, because the wind can carry the voice away. Yeah, so it's the rope that, when he
He'll
pulls
target.
you, when he pulls and he'll like sort of like there's resistance.
Okay.
There are two things. It can be you, it could be stuck on a rock, yeah?
Yeah.
So at least when it's you, you will shout, "That's me." Yeah, and your voice will go. But you communicate like that. It's very
Interesting.
sensory, the rope and also your voice.
Walkie-talkie? No?
My friend, you need it? Yes, but you also don't want a lot of luggage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The weight.
you want to be lightweight. Yes. So that's how we did the training. So mine was proper training, March, April, May. March, April, May. Yeah, March, April, May. At that point, I was comfortable. Like, I'm not forgetful on how to tie my knots. I'm not forgetful on what is what. You're also not dropping gear, because see, if you drop your gear, like let's say on the first few pitches, the length of a rope is called a pitch. Yeah.
Okay.
So if the first few pitches you go losing gear, by the time you get to the top,
There's nothing.
you have nothing. And those things are your safety. Yeah, so at least, at that point you're past such small mistakes, yeah. Then my whole of June, I now went for my altitude training. So that's when I went back to the hikes. We did not meet on that hike, we met later. Yeah, so I did, I think, Kilome, one of those Ukambani hikes, just for easing back into hiking. Then I went to Mtelo. Then I did something on the Abadeas. I can't remember what. Yeah, but then I got my altitude training. Then after that, we waited for the weather window, and we were off.
Wait, just checking updates.
Yeah, just checking how the mountain is looking. Because at least I knew I didn't need too many days from the office. It was not like one of those where you plan. I knew it had to be a weekend climb. So I just needed a Friday and a Monday, because you'll need a buffer day. If the weather is not good today, all guides have an extra day that is in the package.
Yeah.
That if it's not good today, we try tomorrow. If it's not good tomorrow, if you add extra days, now you need to pay.
So, like, how long is like a Batian climb? Let's say.
It depends with your speed. You can do it in 4 or 5 hours.
Or like, let's say, how many days should you plan?
So like North Face, which starts from Shipton, you'll
Yeah.
start from the Sirmon side, yeah?
Yeah.
So you'll walk to Shipton, that's a day. It's best like you first sleep at All Moses, walk to
As you
Shipton, because it's
acclimatize.
also for acclimatizing.
Yeah.
You also don't want to be too rushed. You've come from Nairobi at 4 a.m., walked all the way to Shipton. You don't want unnecessary fatigue. So my advice will be sleep at All Moses, wake up, stroll to Shipton. That night, go. So you leave, better to leave early, because you want to leave before the ice, because there's still a bit of ice as much as it's dry season. You do want to leave before the rocks start falling. Yeah, because the rocks, when they fall, like there's some which are really big.
Okay.
There's a guy who lost a leg. It just went with the rock, because when they start falling, the rock falls they're big. They're major. You sort of want to be out of it before they start coming down. If they come down, it's not a must they come down, but if they do come down, you're better off starting early. But there's also a limit to the earliness.
Early is like 4 a.m. or something.
Walking, yes.
Oh, walking.
Walking to
Just to
there.
the
That
base.
approach, yeah,
Okay.
that approach is. I found it rather steep. Yeah, I was shocked that it was steep. No one mentioned it was steep, so it was mostly shock. It was not manageable. It's just that I didn't expect I'm actually starting to hike like a proper hike. I thought the
Elevation.
Makinda's walk is gentle. That's what I had
the
in my
valley.
head. Yeah, like I was not expecting, it's a hike. It's actually a hike. So for anyone preparing to go, it's a hike. Yeah, so we hiked up to the base. Then we got to the base. Then you find this nice cross written in memory of a certain couple that fell to their
my.
death in 1990. You're like, I respect that we've put the plaque here, but do you know it's scaring the rest of us?
So everyone will just see that
Yeah.
as they go up.
Yes, it's there. So we change up. I had a porter. We had gone with my porter and my guide as well. So they were carrying my stuff. No need to get tired
On
unnecessarily.
the
Because you
approach.
have, and even we also have Peter's gear, the whole equipment. So the porter had one of those, and I think my porter had my bag for me. So I was just walking. And it's also just good vibe. Even then they're so excited for you. Like everyone was just coming
And
like,
the Batian.
Ole, anaenda kwa mawe. Then you randomly find a chef or some porter has come and they've pipped. They're like, okay, hi. Yeah. And then like they look at me, I'm like, I'm a kanono. I'm like, uyo, anaenda. Uyo. It was one of those. So yeah. So when you started climbing, North Face kind of just throws you off. You're still not warmed up like for climbing. Your fingers are a bit numb like this, and it starts with a climb. Like it's an actual climb. It's not scrambling. Because this other one for Austrian side, the southeast face, you start as a scramble. Like you don't. It's not really a climb. I will not call it a climb. But North Face starts with a climb. So I remember even when I was climbing that one, I slid, not so much because it was hard, because I was numb. Like my fingers were shocked. Like, whoa, what
At this
up?
time, are you wearing gloves?
No, no gloves.
Okay.
You don't wear gloves.
What about boots?
There, no, because it was the way the rock was set up. If you're a very strong climber, you can do it with boots. If you're still not so good, you will need to wear your climbing shoes. So I had my climbing shoes, which I will advise. When I say us, I mean those of us who are just learning how
The
to
normals.
climb. Yes. Just wear your climbing shoes,
Okay.
persevere the cold. It will make it more efficient for you than trying to hold on to some crimps, especially for North Face. North Face, you would definitely need your climbing shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did the first pitch. Then I was like, whoa, okay, this is quite something. It was like you hit the ground running, literally. And so he had told me we needed to reach a place called Famines Tower by 11 a.m. Otherwise, we are not
Turn
going.
around.
Yeah, because we had said we're not sleeping outside. So it was mechanical. You reach, I give him the gear. He places it on himself again. As he coils the rope, we move. Switch, move, switch, move, switch, move. Like it was very quick. So even the few times when because when he will reach like where the next anchor is, he will set himself, put himself safe. And then when he says safe,
Pulls the rope.
yeah. Now when he's pulling the rope, that's the time now you're warming yourself. Yeah, so you'll find, okay, for me, like I didn't have time for pictures because I'm like, between eating a piece of chocolate and warming my fingers, photos were the last thing. Like,
When you're on a rock.
no, even if when you're standing is stable. Like
Okay.
at whatever point you're starting to switch over, even you are comfortable.
Okay.
But yeah, the priorities shift. Because also I'm thinking, okay, fine, even if I come out of here with pictures and I don't get to the summit
Yeah.
because I was wasting time, does not,
Yeah.
So at that point, really, for me, phone was there. It was not even far, but it was least of my worries. So we got to Farmers Tower in good time. And so we knew we were going to the summit. And we went to the summit. It was, I really liked the climb. Now that I've done the other side, I really love the North Face. It's a beautiful climb. It's challenging. It's involving. Actually, the best word is it's involving. Yeah, you have to be
Physically,
present.
mentally.
Yes. It's not this
Not
other
fall
one
down.
you can fumble like is not bad, that one.
Okay.
You have many areas you can walk.
Okay.
Like for the North Face, only one section they call the amphitheater is where you don't really need ropes. You can just walk.
Okay.
Yeah. But the rest of it, you're climbing, and they are
Concentration.
quite nice climbs. You pull yourself, you push yourself. I liked it. Like, it was a nice climb. Yeah.
And
If
when
I
you're
was to-
climbing,
yeah.
did you meet anyone?
No, we were the
Okay.
only ones on that day. Lucky us. But when we were coming down the next day, I met a group in Shiptons that were going. Yeah, so it was just us that day.
Wow.
Good day for us.
How's the feeling summiting Batian?
Oh, it was really nice. Like, you're like, oh my God, this actually happened. And, like, for most people, you'll have the maybe not so many good lucks first. And then
Yeah,
you
'cause many
finally
people
get
try.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked out so well. You're like, you just know that moment was really made. Like, it was meant to be. Everything just worked out well. I may not have had the best visibility, because there were clouds here and there, but it was a very pleasant day. It wasn't too cold, it wasn't too warm. It was, the winds weren't so bad. It was such a good day, and that was a beautiful moment. And those ones, like, I never even dreamed of this. Like, this was not a childhood dream. But then it came up, and I was like, oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So between like the two routes, which one would you suggest, let's say, someone to do, like a newbie?
Of course, you'll want to do the southeast so that you get to Nelion, because the north face, you don't get to Nelion. So if you do want to go all the peaks, southeast
summit
it is. Yeah, southeast it is. And the good thing, like, I will tell anyone, if you are like us, please just plan on sleeping at Nelion.
Okay.
Don't try go ninja like I did on the second attempt. Yeah, because I said I'm not sleeping. We were categorical. We are not going to sleep. So we got to Nelion just 1 hour late. But it was 1 hour late. So to avoid, assuming you've never gone to Batian, you really want to go to Batian, right? I mean, you have been preparing. So just carry that sleeping bag, carry that whatever it is you're going to eat. Just plan on sleeping at Nelion. It will increase your success rate than trying to attempt a one-day push. Because if you're just like 30 minutes late, your dream ends at Nelion. Yeah, but at least if you have your things and you can, since there's the hut, Howell's hut is there, it may not be the warmest, it's still better than sleeping outside. Yeah. So I'll say southeast would be good because you can sleep and you'll get the 2 peaks. But if you are a climber, the North Face is the best.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then you've also done this challenge, the Triple Summit Challenge.
Ooh. That thing was
So
nice.
the Triple Summit, just explain to us what the Triple Summit Challenge is.
That was, I think some things will sit and remember when you are like, you remember when there was COVID? Tulifanya mingi sana. Because honestly, I don't think without a COVID environment, that will not have happened. I think even if you look at the trends since the world was opened, very few people are doing challenges. It was a COVID.
Or even hiking.
Yeah. And it was what everyone was doing. Like, it was the best time to do such a thing, I think. And so it was just a random talk amongst friends, pioneered by one Mr. Munyaka. Like, yeah, what if we did triple summit? Actually, even 4 summits. You add in, was it not Nini? This other one that's in TZ, the one that
Meru.
No, we did Meru, Lengai.
Old on your Lengai.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very, very vertical.
Yeah, it's steep.
Yeah, I've not been there.
So for the triple summit, the summits
Were Kenya,
Mount Kenya,
Meru, and Rwenzori. And Kilimanjaro. Yeah. So, of course, you start from home. Home is always best. Then you go that way. And then it was also good for acclimatizing. You start from here. We chose the easiest route, Sirmon, so that also you want to manage your fatigue. Yeah, you don't want to burn out day one. So that was easy. 1 day push. No biggie there for anyone. The only challenge came at the border. We thought the border was 24 hours. Turns out it wasn't.
Namanga border.
Yes. Okay, it was 24 hours on the Tanzanian side, but our Kenyan people
Umelala.
closed at 6 or something. So we were stuck inside Kenya. Yeah, so all our hard work of driving from Nanyuki to the border ended there. So we slept in the car until morning when they came. So when they came, we do the migration thing, we cross over, and our beautiful Tanzanian president was on a trip. So, you know, when the president is on the move, everyone stops.
Yeah.
So we are stuck somewhere there on our way to Mount Meru, and she does her thing. Okay, fine. What can you do? So we go to Mount Meru. We arrive, I think, at noon or 1. So at that point, we're like, best we can do is eat. Then we go to, please remind me the name of the base camp before. The one where
It's
you can
Mount
see Little Meru. You can see Little Meru there.
Miriakamba, Saddle Hut.
Yeah, Saddle Hut. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Saddle Hut. So we walk to Miriakamba. Then our porters are like, they are done. They're not walking anymore.
Umechoka.
Yeah. And when they were taking up the job, they had been told, we are going all the way to Saddle Hut. So they refuse, and then they meet these other porters who were at Miriakamba from another group. Then they sort of gang up against us. Hatuendi, hapana, hiyo safari ni ndefu. Waezi enda siku moja. Like, hala, people, as we are on a mission. So guys were like, no, we walk. We will walk. They will figure it out, because they had been told what is the plan. Like, it was not surprise. We are increasing the journey. No, they knew that. So we continued walking. Then they're like, oh, those people have gone. So they started following. So we got to Saddle Hut before everyone. So you get there, you're sweaty, you know, because we really pushed. At that point now you've acclimatized nicely from Mount Kenya. So we really pushed. We go to Saddle Hut. It's quite chilly. There's no one. We wait for our crew. So I remember, like, I was so cold. I was the only girl in the group. We were 5. Yeah, we were 5. I remember I had the bedroom to myself. I took the 2 mattresses and covered myself, because like now you're really cold and your luggage is down. So we wait, and actually they were really complaining, but it was not a lot. We weren't carrying a lot. We were not carrying.
But it's from gate to Saddle, that's 2,000 gain. So I guess walichoka.
Yeah. Maybe from elevation perspective. Yeah. But in terms of what we were carrying, it was very minimal per person. And we each had a porter, not combined. Yeah. So, they eventually came. We had dinner, and we decided we are not going to do those night summits. We wake up nicely at 6, summit during the day, which really helped, because the sun really gives you energy. So, yeah, we had a very nice summit push. it was good. Okay, it was, Mount Meru good. The fall summits. Then I remember at that point asking one of the guys, like, at that point is when I realized you need to determine what you're asking. So I was like, how far? He's like, 200 meters. I was like, oh, that's cool. He meant altitude, elevation. So me, I walked 200 meters. I'm like, wait, this summit is not 200 meters. I know how 200 meters looks like. It's like, no, I meant elevation. So we had quite a few peaks to go, those two fall summits, but we went. But it was such a beautiful, like, for me, I love that mountain.
Everything.
Yeah, because first you wake up at Saddle Hut, then you have that cloud cover because it looks like everything is below you. So you have like this blanket of clouds. Then on that other end, you can see Mount Kilimanjaro because it was a clear day. And I think most people experience that in Mount Meru.
Yeah.
I don't think there are people who come back without views.
Yeah.
It's a kind mountain.
Scenic, yeah.
It's a kind mountain. So when you wake up and first you wake up to such a view, it really gives you so much. Like, it encourages you. It makes it feel worth it. Yeah, so we went to the summit. Splendid day. One of us, unfortunately, started feeling bad on that trip. And, so we knew there was going to be a problem. Then we came down and out. So initially, we hadn't quite decided. Like, there was a tug and pull. Do we do Kilimanjaro one push or do we sleep? Things just happened. It ended up we needed to sleep because the person who fell ill on Mount Meru was not like really ill, just fatigued. When you're fatigued, you go slowly. Yeah. So he wasn't out. At that point, he wasn't out of the game. So even for Mount Kili, we still thought we are going to go with him.
So before Kili, Mount Kenya did
one
day, then travel day, another day.
So day 2 and 3, travel and Mount Meru together.
And Mount Meru. So now...
Because you see, we travel overnight.
Oh, yeah.
We were to arrive... we were
day.
to do Mount Meru in a day, actually. Yeah, we could have done it in a day had we arrived in TZ in good time. But now arriving in TZ at 8 a.m. was already too late. Like, crossing over at 8 a.m. was too late before now you even head to the mountain. Yeah, so that
Kili
was 2 days.
day 4 now.
Yes, day 4. So day 3, when we came out of the mountain, we just chilled because we came out pretty early because we did a summit. So we had good time. So now the next day, we were to leave early. So we decided, okay, we won't do a 1-day push. We will sleep overnight. At Barranco. We were doing the
Umbwe.
Yeah, Umbwe detour into Aro Glacier.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yeah, so you need to go there. So our friend was not feeling very well. So first thing in the morning, he was like, first let's go to the doctor, check vitals. Then from there, we see what next. So that took a bit of time. That taking a bit of time gave us our second casualty. So by the time he cleared with the doctor, and the doctor was like, there's no need of don't go. It was a bit late in the day. So when we went to the mountain, the day was perfect at that point. But the rain, like, we had only walked for like 20 minutes. Then the rain, I don't know where that rain came. And I have never been rained on like that. Not those ones you are rained on inside, like it's entering everywhere. And Umbwe, you've said you've not been to, you've done
not
Umbwe.
yet. Yeah.
It also starts in the forest. A forest is meant to shield you because there are trees. But no, like, the rain is coming through, the rain from the leaves, everything, like, it's it's horrendous. Like, we were wet everywhere. Because now you have a poncho, but the rain, it's so intense, it's entering your shoes, it's just messy, like, everything is bad.
And you want to do it in 2 days.
Yes. So one of our second casualty got so wet, and then his shoes were the wrong type of shoes. The ones that have metal. Those shoes actually have metal. Hiking boots that have metal
Metal as
in the sole. So add water, you have like 10 kgs on your legs.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He got pain, like he couldn't
Way
walk.
down.
Yeah. So he had to turn back. So we went, now we were down to 4. So actually we were 6, yeah. So we were down to 4. The two, there was a father and son ahead, then Munyaka and I. The father and son had a guide, eh? So the guide took them so well, eh? Kumbe, the guy is dying.
The guide.
Yeah, the guide is dying and is not saying. Munyaka and I, as we go, we are huko nyuma. We've been rained on. We found at least some mountain cleaners. They have cleaners on the mountain. We borrowed tea there at least to get some warmth. Then, at least the rain stopped. At that point, it stopped. Now you just had rain from the leaves. Now whatever water is in the leaves. And I remember at that point, like, there you always have like layers in your bag. Like I had an extra tea. That's what I wore. Because now I was so wet. Now you're getting higher and higher. Now it's very cold. Yeah. And Umbwe starts in the forest, the first 10 kms. It's nice, foresty, typical Mount Kilimanjaro. Then from a camp that I cannot remember.
Umbwe Cave.
Yeah, Umbwe Cave. Cave. It is a series of stairs. Like stairs. Natural, not man-made. Natural stairs. Like you will do so many stairs. You're like, where? By the time you finish, your thighs, where? So we did those 2 stairs nicely. Then we got to camp. It is cold.
Barranco.
Yeah, it is so cold. Like, what? And then our things have been rained on. All of us squeezed in one tent. They're like, oh, you're a lady. You can sleep in. I was like, no, thank you. I am not sleeping alone. You need that warmth from people because it was bad. Like, and then now, even our things were so wet. And the 2 guys who did not come, who had to turn back, their bags had still been carried. Like, we literally rummage there. You have a sock
Whatever
that's
is
from
dry.
that guy. Yeah. Everything was just a mess. All our boots, like for the one, that's when I learned a new trick. If your shoes are wet and it's below 0, just put those shoes outside. They will freeze. In the morning, you scrape off the ice and move on. They won't dry. There's no possibility of drying inside a tent, like no matter what and you don't risk melting them in a fire, and at that point there's even no fire. At such high camps, there's no fire.
So nacha nje tu.
Acha nje freeze. Asubuhi, remove the ice and wear your shoes.
Okay.
So that's what we did. So we wake up early in the morning. We are off to Aro Glacier. It's a 6 kilometer.
Steep.
Is it 6? Yeah, 6 kilometer walk. And I think the elevation is 2,000. Why? You will know you don't know. That walk was bad. First, it was so cold. It's morning. It's mchana. It's not, we did not do any midnight thing. It is morning, I can see myself. But the cold was just bad. Because I think you've had this cold from the previous day, still in your system and all that. Boots. Yeah. It was not an easy walk. So I remember I walked. And it was one of those, again, Kilimanjaro. Here you are. I'm like, I am done. But now at this point, I am wiser than last time. I know I am not sick. I know I have to summit. It's just the idea of, gosh, I have to summit. Like, I have to summit. No, it's not even anyone telling me. I'm sure even that guide I had would have turned back if I had said. Because he was like, no, this one. I cried again. I thought if that mountain has my tears. So I was like, what? I just sat down. This one, I was just fatigued. Like, there was nothing wrong. So it's that feeling of helplessness. And there's really nothing wrong with you. Like, I do that internal assessment that you do. All vitals are fine. So this is just mental. This is just the sheer perseverance, like is what is required of you, and Maggie, you just have to do it. So that's what I did. So
And from Arrow Glacier now towards the summit, how is it there?
it is
I hear it's
very steep,
Yeah.
and it's very, the rocks are not loose rocks, like I can tell you, it was one summit, you'll walk, you hear the person in front singing, these are not songs because of happiness. It's someone encouraging themselves, like you know, how you'll console yourself in a song. You sing, you hear someone sing, you pick it up at the back, you sing again.
because that route now, that's the proper route you have to summit in order to go down. It's like a point of no return or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the one. Leave the fake other one, I was being told. But then now at least you get to enter the crater.
Yeah.
Let me just say, I did not know Mount Kilimanjaro had a crater.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Crater,
Because I don't think
ash
you see it
cone.
from that side, from the normal route. You can't see it. So we walk. Eventually we get out. Because you see now you're walking up the crater. That's why it's that steep. Then you get into the crater and you're like, whoo, a farm of glaciers. You're like, oh, this is heaven. How I miraculously turned from a teary mess into a happy energy bunny is hard to explain. But I think once you see it, and then from the glacier from the crater you can see the summit, and it doesn't look so bad. It is actually bad, but it doesn't look so bad. So when you look at it, you're like, atando ile summit, you're like, cool stuff. So yeah, so we had a very nice time in that crater. We took the pictures in the
And
dress.
you had time to take with the dress.
Yes, with the dress.
I saw those photos.
Amazingly, I tell you, my guide was like, he had questions. Have you ever seen someone with
Even in the
questions?
cold, yani unabeba hizi.
No, it's because I had broken down. Like, just a few minutes, less than
Flip.
30 minutes ago, I was out. Like,
Yeah.
those ones, like, I just told him, I just need a moment. Because now this one's, you're just talking to yourself. Like, you're okay, you just need to keep on going. Like, since you're not sick, you just need to keep on going. Like, then you tell somebody to keep on going. Now you're
Yeah.
telling yourself.
Just continue one step at a time.
Yeah. Those things you tell other people, now
Yeah.
it's you telling yourself, you can do this, you
Yeah.
can do this, just walk, even if it's lonely, just walk. Like, he had seen that whole process, me refusing to give him the bag, because I'm like, I'm not sick, I'm fine, so I will carry. So to move from that, then to see me, like, oh, I am here, let's take pictures. Like, woman.
Is this you?
Yeah, is it me? Yeah, so it was a very nice thing. Then we went to the summit. We were alone, so yeah, it was a great time. Then that annoying walk back down, not just Mecca, all the way out. All the way out. You don't realize just how much you've climbed until when you have to go back down. Like, that's when everything hits you. You're like, oh, wow, this is a lot. Yeah, so we walked out, got to the gate. I walked slowly. Like, I wish the rest of the guys, they had like this, like, Salomon shoes, so they could run. I didn't run. So when you don't run, you can't, even the strain on your knees is a bit much on the scree side. Yeah, so I think at that point I was like low energy, everything. Yeah, so but then I was like, this thing is over, it's done, and we are still within our 5 days anyways. Yeah, so I think I took my time, and it was not as bad as the other time. Like, yeah, I think it was not as bad. Yeah, so that was how Triple Summit
Kenya,
ended.
Meru, Kili in 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your future challenges, future mountains?
Oh gosh. Not challenges. I think
Mountains.
yeah, I will wish to do Mount Rwenzori in a day.
Wow.
In the steps of Akina Limo. But now with my history of that, I did it when it was just a one peak. I'm thinking if I go back there, I'll want to do other peaks, which means I can't do the 1 day challenge, yeah? And then you can't go up and then come down, then go up again now to do those other peaks you get. So I'm still conflicted, like, which is which? When you return, what will you do? Yeah. So I will wish to do, I mean, if I've done these others in 1 day challenge, it will be a good challenge to do now that we know it's possible. Because see, most of these things we just didn't do because we didn't think it's possible. Because I remember when I did Mount Kili the first time, I remember our guides talking about this Mzungu who does it in 8 hours. And I was like, crazy white people, crazy. You know, like you write it off. You don't even think that one day you'll be
It'll
doing
be you.
that. And then now, at least once you start seeing people who look like you do it, and you can talk to them, you can DM them, you get some info. You're like, oh, it's not that crazy actually, just a little bit. Yeah, it's doable.
Wow.
So I don't know what I'll do. Yeah, it's
Between the 1 day
day
Rwenzori
or
the
doing the
multiple
10
peaks.
peak. Yeah, the 10 peak series. Yeah, maybe when you do 10 peak, we do it together.
The 10
So
peaks
you're
of
going back.
Rwenzori.
Yes, you're going back. Papa, I'm not saying you're never going back.
Okay. Next year.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
outside Africa.
So first, I still have my mountains. I have a book to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lucky for me, the other peaks are all in Ethiopia. So I did a planning mistake. I could have done one peak. I didn't realize it was so close to me. You know, those things are like, how did I miss this? But, you know, it's like when you go to, what can I say? Like if you go to a place like Table Mountain in South Africa, if you go to Cape Town, you'll always find people talking about Table Mountain. They never talk about the Lion's Head. Like Table Mountain usually takes, the bigger share of the attention. So I was where the other mountain actually is. And I didn't realize that until it was too late. And the program, I had set it. If I switched it, I would have had to leave my friend. And I was like, she had come all this way on my invite. I can't tell her, oh, now you go to the beach. Me, I'm going to the mountain. Like, it's rude. It's rude to do that. So now instead of just being 3, I have 4 to go. But they're not hard. There should be a 1 day hike or maybe 2 days. So Ethiopia comes in first. Then, maybe we go to the Himalayas. I think the Himalayas for me were always, it wasn't so much into my plan of things. But then you see, I've not really been a hiker until recently, So now I'm like, oh yeah, that would be good to do. Because actually the one outside Africa mountain I've always wanted to do is Machu Picchu. That one I've always wanted to do. Yeah, like it's a trip.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I've had Peru, Chile, and Bolivia in my radar. Like when I go to South America, I'll do those 3 countries, and I'm going to do Machu Picchu. So that's the one outside Africa mountain I have always wanted to do. I wanted to do this mountain that I cannot pronounce. Now you want me to embarrass myself on your podcast? The one in France.
Mont Blanc.
Yes. I don't embarrass myself.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
that one,
okay.
like I saw some pictures at some point. I know they have the cabins on the mountain. I was like, oh yeah, like when I'm in my 50s and I'm old, because I want to go to Europe when I'm old, not when I'm young. I figure Europe is easy to travel. Do you try traveling in Africa, you encounter all manner of things. The border is closed. I don't know what has happened. So I was like, when I'm older and I can sleep in a cabin, I can go do the Swiss mountains, yes, and that one. And it is the highest in Europe, yeah?
Highest in Europe
No,
is
no,
Elbrus.
it's Elbrus.
Yeah.
No, in this other Europe.
Oh, yeah.
This other Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Understand. Yeah.
Yeah, so those were the main ones. But then now I'm thinking to bring in my initial plan now became Lenin. I had spoken to Mohia and he was like, James Mohia is like, it's one of the highest peaks that's not technical. You just need to walk. No,
7,000
it's a 7,000 peak that you just need to walk. So initial plan was to do it this summer because it's a summer climb. But then I had just done Ethiopia in April. It's too soon to be away again. Even at work, I wouldn't get, like, I was away for 14 days, asking for another 14 days, 2 months later is too soon to be away. So even when I look at my plans now, it might be shelved again and again because I need it in a summer period. So that it's very limiting.
Yeah.
Only once a year. It's very limiting. So anyway, the mountain is not going anywhere. Yeah, so that was a plan I had. But then now we have Himalayas. At least it has 2 seasons.
Yeah.
That's kind enough.
Beginning of the year and end of the year.
Yeah. That, and it's also spaced out nicely for
Yeah.
me. April and October.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Can't wait for your book.
Oh, thank you.
So the next segment is the answering your question segment.
Okay.
I think
We don't have questions.
No, we have questions.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chatuone.
And then if you don't have...
I saw a few. Question 1. How did you get into climbing?
Climbing or hiking? Climbing. Okay, I'll say hiking. Like I said, it was an accident. It was just an accident. Then climbing, the rock climbing bit, that was also now just to go to Batian. But then I realized it's a nice hobby. It's hard to explain, because it's not easy. It's not like sitting down and watching a movie kind of. You'll go there and suffer, but it gives you a lot of satisfaction after. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which climber do you look up to?
Wow.
Could be a climber, mountaineer.
I actually got a recent one, and we hiked with her in Gurman. She's called Fiona. I liked her. Like, she's a very strong hiker that you'd say unassuming. Like, when you look at her, you wouldn't think she's such a strong hiker. And like when we were walking in Gurman, I was trying to catch up. I could not believe myself. I'm like, these people are leaving me. I'm the one who normally leaves people. So I liked, and then she's also a climber and a good one also. So I like, I can say I look for up to her. And Alice.
Alice Nganga.
Yeah, like I like her, the way she's a hiker. You know, hikers have like life cycles that comes to an end. Then they move into running, they move into cycling. Her, she's just been hiking. No, she doesn't even think of making it commercial. She just loves hiking. Yeah.
Tips for climbing Batian.
Okay, like prepare yourself. It's not cheap, unfortunately. It's not one of those things I'll say it's the easiest thing. You need to have the commitment of your resources, both monetary and time. Make it short, make it effective. Don't spread out your training. Make it back to back. So just try and do everything. Go see your friends, everyone you want to see. Then if you say you're starting your training, just stick to that plan. Like, you have to, and it's kind of lonely. Like, you can make friends, or sometimes you just have to go it alone. But you sort of have to be committed. Like, say, I'm doing this, so we are focused. 3 months, it's me, rocks, mountains for altitude. Then you go to Batian. You can join Mountain Club of Kenya. It will give you an opportunity to get free rides. Yeah, because sometimes some people don't have vehicles to go like to Kenya. So you can pair up with someone who has a vehicle. So I know that's another limiting thing, that maybe you want to go, you and your trainer don't have a car. You can find someone in MCK who is going to Kenya, hitch a ride, pay your fare, your share of fuel, and at least you get to spend your day there.
Any aspirations to do an 8,000er?
We first try 7,000. Then there's also the cost element about all these things that it's not cheap. It's not about to get cheap. And yeah, so yes, if things align themselves, it's not something I'm saying a 5-year plan, but it's not out of the books. Like systematically, if your life is going in a certain direction and you have a certain resource that you can take this way, yes, it's something I would wish to do. Yeah.
This one. Do you enjoy suffering? Mara running, Mara being a porter.
I think I like trying new things. Like I get very easily bored. So I'll like, okay, like there you can hike Ngong Hills many times or hike somewhere I can remember. I don't like hiking somewhere I can remember. So to add the diversity of things, it's either I do it in a different way. Now, like Narumoru, I've done a speed climb, I've done a normal hike, and I've carried my things. I think I'm done with that route. Yeah, so I just like trying out new things, and then I'm not so much into being the best. I just like doing stuff. Like I'll go run the marathon. I mean, I ran in 5 hours and 30 minutes. I don't care. I was not number one, but just the joy of trying and just seeing how far can you stay committed to something, pushing yourself. Yeah, I like such. Like I'm never really much about being the best, but I like trying stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Next question is mine.
Okay.
Cha muhimu ni summit.
Not really. I will not want to lose my life, lose my limbs because of a mountain. There's a limit to this love. So
I mean, but when you're healthy.
yeah, if
and
you're healthy,
everything.
yes. Because like when I didn't go to to Batian this year, we got to Neliot, and in my head I knew it was the right decision. But I know when I came back to Nairobi, I was a bit sad. I think I even cried a little. I was like, maybe I should have like pushed harder. But then rationale also reminds me, yes, you would have, but that will have mean coming in the dark and
Risky.
yeah, the risks are higher because when you're climbing, the risks are higher coming down. So yeah, like I will still listen to my guide more than pushing for a summit. Yeah, that's for sure. I will listen to my guide more. Yeah.
Okay. What about diet for you?
for
on
me?
and off the mountains?
I'm always consistent. I believe in energy giving foods. So my healthy carbs, complex carbs, my proteins are constant. Whether I'm hiking or not I'm hiking. Because it also, the energy, I believe the energy is much more than carb loading a day before. It's the cumulative things. Because there are people who are not lucky to eat on a mountain. I am lucky to eat, but then my altitude comes in the form of I can't sleep. So I don't get to rest, and you know when you rest, you recover, you repair worn out tissues. So that means whatever good and well-being I have before I get to the mountain is all I have to keep me when I'm hiking. So for me, I'll always have my brown rice, my ngwashe, my ndomas, my oats. Those are my carbs in chicken, a lot of it. Yeah, so on and off the mountains, that's pretty much my diet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any last words for the followers who are inspired by you?
Oh, first, for guys who mostly DM me and like they are so encouraged, I'm happy. Like I'm just trying out silly things and it's good. It's rubbing off on people, and yeah, just do your best. And then it's not a rush. Like these mountains are not going anywhere, so don't try killing yourself to do things. Enjoy. Just make sure you enjoy your journey outdoors. Make friends. Learn yourself. Take time. I think for me, I see people doing 1-day challenges and they've never hiked like a proper hike. Like for me, given the experience I've seen people get sick on the mountain, I always say respect the mountains. respect the mountains. Just because you've never had an incident does not mean you're immune to it. So take your time to even know yourself, like to know how your vitals are when you go to a mountain. So as much as you want to push, also make sure you've gotten to a good level of understanding yourself to know when to calm down.
Yeah.
You don't want to have situations just for a push.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cheers, Margie.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
That's our episode.